Hello, happy Friday. I have a really powerful topic to speak on today. And when I say powerful, what I mean is that it really connects deeply with the creative energy within me and within the collective. Um, it's funny, I bring that up because I have heard it spoken quite often how powerful, or that word power can actually almost evoke a feeling of fear because power has often been co opted. So, just total aside. So, the concept that I'm speaking on is about how we can mindfully navigate change because we are in a time of massive fucking change. Like, there is so much changing. Our entire world view is shifting, and the foundation that we knew as safe is no longer. And so we're kind of in this liminal space, this Bardo state of in between, of that sacred pause that happens between what was and letting go of that, and then stepping into what is to come next. And when we are still kind of caught in the energy of what is being dissolved, what is being let go of, that energy of dissolution, it can feel like suffering. It can feel like we are so overwhelmed and confused, and it's really difficult to even navigate. And this is often where shadow work comes in, grief work comes in. We're grieving the losses. And so it calls for a lot of compassion, a lot of ability to really hold grace, both for ourselves, so to offer forgiveness for ourselves for the ways that perhaps we've stepped away from our truth, from the ways that we have let ourselves down, let our families down, let our communities down, all of the ways that we feel as though we've somehow disconnected from the truth of self, the truth of our purpose and why we're here. And so, as I'm reflecting on this concept of being very mindful in navigating change, that word mindful has become really popularized because of the rise of yoga and the rise of meditation and this evolution of spiritual consciousness. So, what I mean by mindful is simply the ability to be aware. It's so simple, and it really helps to understand it in that way because being aware is really just that simple space of sitting in the seat of the observer and witnessing. So watching our experience, watching our thoughts, watching what's going on around us. And oftentimes that kind of comes with some judgment. We can have a mindful view of what's going on in the world and around us, and then all of a sudden, like a judgment pops up, a thought, a belief, a feeling that's in response to that experience. And I will never say to deny your thoughts or your feelings or your beliefs, because really to be mindful is actually simply to notice. So simply to witness that experience, including the judgments, including the parts that come up that aren't so comfortable. And so as we begin to navigate this space of change, and again, moving from a liminal space of in between towards what's being created in the new, to be mindful is simply to watch, to be aware, to hold open perspective of what has been and perhaps what's possible in the future. And in this space of kind of this pause, I'm feeling the excitement of it. At first it can feel very heavy because we're moving down into the space of the shadow, into the space of some emotions that definitely kind of take us into a more contemplative and inward sense of being. And as we explore that, there's an opportunity for creation. This is where we really have an opportunity to choose what we're stepping into next. And without leaving where we already are, because presence is really all that exists, we can hold this space of being in that in between and being mindful of what was. So being aware of what was, and then being mindful or aware of what is possible in the future. Now, slight disclaimer. Beliefs and thoughts are always rooted in past. So I'm just going to say that again. So beliefs and thoughts are always rooted in the past. So you cannot believe or think your way into a new future. It's just simply not possible, because you're going to be taking that old belief, that old thought, that pattern that existed in the past into the future. And what I'm feeling is a really strong collective pull towards evolution. And evolution is not about bringing the past with us. It's actually about creating new. So in that moment, in this moment, we are being born anew. We're choosing something new. And so oftentimes we have to completely let go of what was first in order to move into that new space. And while we're in that process of letting go, a lot of grief comes up, a lot of remembering of all of the ways that old situation, our beliefs, our patterns, the people, how they all supported us, and how it feels so familiar and safe. And so as we mindfully navigate change, it's really about recreating safe spaces for us. So recreating a new safe space in our present moment, and then engaging with vision. So what is possible for the future? And I'm going to speak to a concept that can be a little bit difficult to even talk about, because my biggest struggle this year has been the polarity, the polarization of opinion, of belief, of even what people deem as fact. And I was just having a really wonderful conversation with a friend this morning about science. And so I have a degree in science, and I really, really believe in the scientific method. This ability to take a hypothesis, to take an idea about what is possible, and then hold it up for rigorous study. That is the scientific method. And in this time of fear and guilt that seems to have been kind of bubbling up over this year, and honestly, it's just kind of part of the current cultural paradigm, that concept of science has really been co-opted, and our feelings and ability to be curious has taken us out of the space of being really in that scientific method of testing, of exploring and being curious. And so I'm going to take that concept and bring that into what it means to actually mindfully navigate change. Because if we want to be mindful in our ability to create the new, it takes a radical amount of curiosity, a radical ability to see things in a way that are expansive and not rooted in old belief and habit and pattern energy. And so as we start to make this shift into what is to come next, I have an invitation for you. I have an invitation for inquiry. And this is what I've really been sitting with. And it feels so fucking good, because so much this year has not felt good. But when I'm owning my space and being in my lane of what is true for me, what I can envision and I can imagine is the future that I desire. In 5 years or 10 years from now, where do I really want to be? And I can say with all honesty that I don't want to be where we were. I don't want to be where we were a year ago. I don't even want to be where we were yesterday or maybe this morning. And so I'm imagining this imagining this future, this ability to actually be in that space of what is coming next? And the way that I do that is by engaging the faculty of curiosity, of what I know to be the scientific method, which is really about becoming so curious that you're open to all perspectives, that you're willing to welcome in all of the information, all of the different beliefs and perspectives and everything, in order to really innovate, in order to step into the next evolutionary step of our collective expansion. And so that's my invitation for you. If you're wanting to really engage in this mindful shift, this mindful engagement with change, my invitation is to consider for yourself where you want to be in 5 years. And not just personally, but as a collective. And then from that space, so once you get really clear on that and really connect into the feeling tones of that, then look at how you can engage with that in this moment. And so the ways that's been showing up for me is one of the things that I'm feeling really strongly about is this ability to be connected in a very village-like atmosphere and be supportive of differing perspectives, and while honoring all perspectives, also recognizing that not everybody is going to be in my small community village. It's just not possible. It's not possible to govern in such a localized fashion like what we do now. It really needs to be decentralized. Like that's the way that we're able to really come up with innovative ideas and to better support a smaller group of people. And so I'm bringing that in differing ways. So connecting with people that I care about and having open, honest conversations that can feel difficult. And as I shared yesterday, if you had an opportunity to watch that one, I shared that we're selling our home right now and we're making a move. And the way that we're making this move is very different than any change we've ever made before. Because rather than it be a definitive, this is our choice, this is what we're doing, we're actually opening it up for change and flow. So we are kind of setting up a little bit of a time frame, a space to try and to see what fits and what doesn't fit. And I have a habit energy of like jumping into change and then not necessarily knowing how to get out of something that doesn't feel good. And so this is how I am creating a new future for myself. And it can be a little bit scary to let go of what was. It can be scary to let go of how I used to do it, because that felt safe to me. That's what felt familiar. So my invitation as I leave you today is, again, just consider where you want to be in 5 and 10 years. Consider how you want to be experiencing your body, your health, your relationships. And then from that space, look at how you can bring that into this present moment and really live from that space of what is being created in the future. Yeah, and as Selena shares the stretch, that is exactly what it is. Oh, before I go, because you just like triggered a beautiful remembering, Selena. What's his name? I can't remember. But he speaks about collapsing space and time, that when we have an intention and we've made a choice and a commitment, there's actually an ability to collapse that stretch, to move it into the present moment. But we first have to imagine the stretch state. So we have to first imagine what is possible there. And then once we really get a firm grasp on that and we've made a solid commitment to it, that stretch can actually come back to present moment possibility. And this is actually something that Selena has been so incredible in sharing with me and supporting me in, is this understanding, that it doesn't have to be a struggle, that it doesn't have to be a hustle in order to achieve or to get somewhere or to get things. It actually can be as simple as, showing up in integrity, and that being the alignment. Brittany just says thank you. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Brittany. Okay, I'll close for today, and I won't be sharing on the weekend because it's my downtime. So much love to you. If you have any thoughts or comments, please share below. I love engaging in open conversation. So much love, and we will chat soon.